Welcome to Level Up Your Writing, presented by the Warminster Township Free Library. It is often said that over half of all communication is expressed through body language. For this reason, when writing a scene where characters are communicating, you should consider not just what they're saying verbally, but also what they're saying non-verbally. Whether we're aware of it or not, a large part of how people communicate and understand each other is through our body language. Body language consists of all non-verbal communication, and can include gestures, posture, facial expressions, eye movement, and more. Using body language effectively in your writing can keep scenes interesting, help the reader visualize what is happening, and give insight into characterization, personality, and a character's state of mind. You may have heard the expression, show, don't tell, in relation to writing. This is generally good advice, and something a future video might cover more in depth. Basically what it means is instead of telling the reader something, for example how a character feels, such as in Sally felt anxious, you show the reader Sally's anxiety instead. Perhaps she fidgets in her seat, maybe she's easily distracted, or maybe she has a nervous habit like biting her nails. Without telling how Sally feels, her body language might give the reader enough clues to figure it out themselves, in a way that's more visual and interesting than simply Sally felt anxious. Compare that to Sally wrung her clammy hands in her lap. Her foot bounced restlessly against the floor. She took a deep breath, trying to calm herself. As with character motivation, you can use principles of psychology to create realistic and believable body language in your characters. There are established patterns and behaviors that are expressed through body language that most readers will be able to interpret without you needing to tell them what the body language is saying. If you want your characters to feel like real people, making them act like real people is a good first step. In order to accomplish this, think about how your character is feeling and use their emotions, physical and mental state, and self-awareness or lack thereof to consider what body language they might exhibit in the scene. Using the character's emotions as a guide is an easy way to figure out what body language makes sense in any given scene. There are many resources online to give you a more comprehensive list of body language and the emotions it conveys, and I encourage you to seek out these resources if you get stuck or find yourself repeating the same types of body language. And that is because, as in most things when it comes to writing, moderation is key. Overuse of the same expressions, especially within a single scene, can be boring and repetitive, and your reader will start to notice after a certain point. For example, I often have characters smile or nod, but when I go back through a scene, I sometimes notice that they never stopped smiling, or they're nodding so much they must look like a bobblehead. In cases like this, ask yourself if the body language is actually adding additional meaning to the story. If it's not, you may just want to take it out or pick a different expression of body language to convey a similar effect. Additionally, not all people, and therefore not all characters, will use the same gestures or facial expressions. Think about your character's personality and background, and decide if their body language makes sense for who they are as a person. You can also have a character's body language contradict what they're saying. For example, if the character is lying, their body language may hint at or reveal the truth. I hope that this brief overview helped you see how body language can add additional layers to a scene. While body language does not only appear in dialogue scenes, it can play a key role, as I mentioned in our previous video on dialogue. For that reason, today's writing exercise will test your skills with body language in a dialogue scene. The catch, however, is that you're not allowed to use spoken language. For whatever reason, the two characters in the scene cannot speak aloud, and you can decide what that reason is on your own. But the characters still need to communicate with each other, and you need to convey their emotions to the reader as well. So think about a scene where you can do that. In the next video, we're going to talk about another aspect of characterization in which an understanding of human psychology will be helpful, and that's how to write realistic and believable children characters.